Hello, YouTube, you're there. How you going? I'm Phil McAuliffe, I'm the Loneliness Guy, and it's great to have you here on for this final episode of Connection Over Coffee for 2021. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for it to be the end of this year. I'm really tired. It's been a long year, as we're about to get into. And I'm really excited to have a bit of a break over Christmas and New Year because it is summer here in Australia. And I will be taking a bit of time off, spending time with family, catching up with some extended family, and hopefully heading down to Melbourne for a few days. And then launching back in January into some cracking content for you and other gay men experiencing loneliness in 2022. So lots of stuff coming up about body image, about religion, and what growing up in a faith community does for us and to us as gay men. Plus a whole range of other things with myself and my coaching and connection partners. But if you're listening to the podcast now, you would be hearing how much I would really love it if you are a regular listener or this is the first time and you want to join in the creation of a sense of community. So loneliness is great at making us feel and think that we're alone and that we're the only person in the history of the world that ever has felt this way. But it's not true. There are so many of us feeling lonely from time to time. Indeed, every one of us feels lonely from time to time. So what I'm doing over at the Loneliness Guy on social media is posting photos that you share with me as a way of creating community. So if you want to check out my socials on Facebook and Instagram, send me a message, DM me, and send me a picture. And yeah, I'd love to share and give you a shout out as wherever you are in the world. So got some already on social media from places in the US, in Canada, Latin America, in Australia and New Zealand. It's awesome. And it's great that you can see that there are other gay men just like you all around the world who are thinking and feeling much the same way. All right, so thanks so much again for being here. And yeah, it's let's crack on with it, hey? I better press play. Yep, that's working. All right. Hey, welcome to Connection Over Coffee with me, Phil McAuliffe, the Loneliness Guy. In this episode, the final episode for 2021, we're going to be wrapping 2021 up like a really fine Christmas gift. But before we get on to all of that, I need to say that this podcast contains content relating to the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of gay men. If that's going to offend you, or anyone in your earshot, now's the time for you to move on. But if you're down for a coffee and a chat as we wrap up 2021, why don't you go and have a chat to Kevin on your way to getting us a table, and I'll go get us a coffee. I'll see you in a tick. Okay, so if you were listening to the podcast, there's like the sound of coffee being made and a promotion from my friend Kevin Moran, who runs Kevin Moran Coaching, and he is all about helping gay men and other queer folks to be their awesome selves through coaching. He's just a beautiful spirit. I love working with him. I love having him in my corner. And there's a link in the episode description here on YouTube that you can go and check his work out, knowing that like if you go through my my website, like you'll go on a landing page for him, so you'll know that I've sent him and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's just crack into the episode. All right, here you go. This is the first time that you've joined me for coffee. Welcome. And if you're a return coffee getter with me, coffee drinker with me, it's simply brilliant to have you back. Either way, you may have wrestled with some uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, particularly if you are a first-time watcher on YouTube or a first-time listener here on through the podcast. And the thoughts and feelings of loneliness can really make us, we can turn into powerful storytellers about what simply pressing play, something simple like pressing play on a podcast or on a video on YouTube, what that means for us and our worth as a human, because loneliness has us questioning our worth, our worthiness of feeling love and belonging within ourselves and with those that we love most, or with our communities. And this is horrible. It's a horrible thought. They're horrible thoughts. They're horrible feelings. And the stigma of loneliness has us reaching out or not wanting to reach out because of the questions of worthiness. So simply pressing play, I admire your bravery and your courage in engaging with these thoughts and feelings. So this is episode 36 of the podcast. And we're now getting to a point where, not only wrapping up 2021, but we're getting to the end of the second year of my work here at The Loneliness Guy. I started in January 2020, before the world felt like it changed seismically. And many of you probably over the last 2 years have gotten very aware, have become very aware of your loneliness. But some of you may have actually been feeling loneliness all the way, or for a very long time. But one of the things that really I find a challenge with my work is that because no one really talks about loneliness in a way that sort of allows you to be normal and lonely. And I hesitated there on the word normal because I think normal's boring. We're all designed to stand out in our own awesome way. But because of those thoughts and feelings of loneliness, and we never allow ourselves, and we don't know how to talk about loneliness as within ourselves or within those like friendship groups or within our communities, we can really struggle, and we do think that we're alone. So it really does help if you press like on this episode, or like my content on social media, share it on social media, like, comment, share, save it for later. All of it does great things in social media world to boost and share my work amongst other gay men. And part of that also is that while I've just sort of bought you a pretend coffee, and we're sitting here having a pretend coffee in this coffee shop, it really does help me if you consider, not just consider, but buy me a coffee. And by pressing the Buy Me a Coffee link, by following that link, you'll be sent to PayPal, where you can send me $5 Australian, the cost of a cup of coffee, to help me continue my work, to pay for the website, to pay for hosting, the hosting service for this podcast. All of this is provided to you for free, and I want to keep it that way, but I do need some financial help. So if you do get benefit out of this episode, if you get benefit out of any of the other 35 episodes, I'd really love it if you could consider and then follow through on the link to buy me a coffee, knowing that anything you provide will be made to work really hard. So this is an episode that drops on the Thursday before Christmas. So that's going to be the 23rd of December. Now, if you're listening to this live, I guess, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And we're getting to the end of 2021. And all the way through 2021, we have been, well, the very first content, very first blog post, the very first episode of the Connection Over Coffee and blog on thelonelinessguy.com for 2021 was how we were going to make 2021 our year of authentic connection. Because the thoughts and feelings of loneliness don't shift until we learn from them and then begin to do connection. And not just any kind of connection, authentic connection, when we put our real authentic selves timidly out into the world, timidly at first, out into the world. And then as we build confidence, we can then put more and more of ourselves and be more and more of ourselves in the world. And the reason that I made 2021 our year of authentic connection was that it's terrifying to suddenly do connection by ourselves. And although it's tempting because we don't want to get it wrong, we want to do it cleanly, we don't want to be messy, we don't want to offend people, we don't want to put anyone out, we don't want to be a burden. So we want to kind of do it quietly and neatly and stuff. But I thought, no, we need to do it together. We need to do it together. So all the way through 2021, we've been doing the year of authentic connection. And this is the final check-in. So the fourth check-in where we wrap this whole year up. And all the way through various episodes, we've been doing checking in. We've been doing check-ins of how we've been progressing. And so we'd be looking at the previous 3 months and then setting an intent, learning from what we did, and then setting another intention for the following 3 months. And then after 3 months, so halfway through the year, we look back at the 6 months, set another intention for the forward 3 months, and then another 3 months. So you get my point. This follows a very powerful model when we're looking to do change, where we review and set intentions. And not only do we review and set intentions and we set personal intentions, there's real power when we set intentions, and state them aloud and ask for help and support and accountability. And that's what we've been doing in my Facebook group. For premium members of The Loneliness Guy, we've been doing these check-ins and setting intentions often for a week about how we intend to connect with ourselves and remain connected with ourselves, how we intend to connect with those most important to us, and how we intend to connect in our communities. And little by little, poco a poco in Spanish, we make steps towards doing connection and moving beyond our loneliness. Now we're here in December and we get to look all the way back through our 2021. And sometimes if you're like me, you're like, oh, thank fuck that we're actually, here in December, and where, it's warmer, the days are long if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And, it's actually, things feel lighter when we're in summer. And, sometimes you just don't want to. You just want to enjoy the moment, and that's fine too. That's why a podcast is great, because it's going to be here for forever. And you're able to replay it at a time of your convenience, because the check-in and the setting of intention is an exercise that you can do at any time. And indeed, my recommendation is that we do it every week. So we continue to once we've learned from what our loneliness has tried to tell us, it is trying to tell us about ourselves and the type of connection that we need. Once we've learned that, and then we need to commit to doing that kind of connection. And yet, it is shit your pants scary, especially when you do it alone. But when you do it with other people who understand and are doing it themselves, and so they really do understand what it's like, that's phenomenally powerful. So I do have people like Kevin, who you heard from at the beginning of this episode, and Michael Diorio and Mike Campbell and Sophia Coquerez, who are in my corner, in the team of coaches and connection experts who are ready to help you, only too happy to help you, and share their expertise, share their wisdom to help you learn from your loneliness. I'm also here to help you as well. But before, we get into those questions and do it, I want to sort of give a really quick overview of what my 2021 has been like. And so we started, Jeff and I, my partner, my awesome partner, hi Jeff, and I started this year in New Zealand, and we moved to Australia in January, in mid-January. And my kids and my former wife stayed in New Zealand for a few more months until they returned to Australia in April. And I couldn't see my children for that period of time, and because we couldn't leave Australia, couldn't get to New Zealand, and that was awful. It felt like half of me was somewhere, and I couldn't get to them. But they returned in April, and we started setting up our lives together, as the family that we are. And the kids started school, Jeff started a new job, and I went back to my workplace, and that I had taken leave to live in New Zealand for a few years. And it was a year of great change, and a year of reconnecting to our community. Canberra is not my hometown, but I've been based in Canberra since 1999. So it's home. And it's been reconnecting to Canberra as a community, meeting some people. I now live in Canberra, obviously, as an out gay man, and previously I was not, was not out, was married in a heterosexual relationship. And so my experience of Canberra right now is very different. I'm still a dad. I still have responsibilities and I'm a grown up, but I get to experience the world now as me, and that's been exciting. It's been really exciting, and it's been wonderful to meet some people here in Canberra. But of course, COVID. And that has meant that much of the interactions that I've been doing with people here in Canberra, and indeed people beyond my immediate family, has been online. And that's good, but it's nothing, is as good as giving someone a hug and actually sitting and having a real coffee and a real conversation with them over a table during an afternoon. So this has been a year of resettling, reconnecting, finding out how I am here in Canberra, finding out how those most important to me are settling in and how they can experience the change of life and circumstances, and how I get to engage with community. And the final thing that I wanted to share in the review of my 2021 was my connection to purpose. And all the way through 2021, I felt deeply connected, and this is beautiful, deeply connected to my purpose here at the Loneliness Guy. I absolutely, it's hard to say this and take myself seriously, but I feel deeply passionate about helping, serving, and indeed supporting gay men experiencing loneliness wherever they are in the world to get the authentic connection that they need. And I'm all about destigmatizing loneliness and promoting authentic connection for gay men globally. And all the way through this year, I have been kind of absorbing, reading and observing and processing all of this kind of information around me and kind of vacuuming up all these kind of ideas that kind of that pop into my mind from time to time about ideas for content to share with you, and to ask an expert, ask a friend to come onto my podcast and have a chat about it with me and with us. And that kind of connection to purpose is really instructive for me. I feel like I am on the path that I'm meant to be on. And I just wanted to say that it is an awesome feeling that, on reflection, that it's frustrating at times, things don't happen fast enough for me and all that kind of stuff. So I'm learning a whole lot of patience. I'm learning to let things happen, to set the environment and then let things happen. But that deep connection to purpose is something that I have not had for a very long time. And I have it in the work that I'm doing, coaching with Mike Campbell, the work that I'm doing at the Lonely Diplomat, and particularly here at the Loneliness Guy. I'm very grateful to feel that kind of connection to me and how I'm putting me into the world. But I did say that we were going to do an exercise. And so if this is not the first time that you've listened to this kind of review episode, you'll know what we're about to do. But if this is the first time that you are listening to this kind of review episode, there are 6 questions. 6 questions that I'm going to run through right now as we wrap up 2021. Now, at this point, if you don't have a pen and paper, I ask you to press pause and go and get some. And then critically, you have to unpause it. So you join either on video or on the podcast. So press pause now. And I'm going to say that you worked out how to press unpause or play, unpause. So you're back now and you're now ready to write this down. Now, critically, this is important. It is really important that you write this down. The whole point of this is that you write it down. You don't just listen and then think about it. You don't listen and then go, oh, okay, no, this is creating time in your day to slow down and really reflect. So don't type, not typing this. This is not something to do on your phone in notes. This is not something to do in Word or in an email or anything like that. This is old-fashioned pen and paper. Or if you don't have your pen license yet, pencil. Or if you're artistic, do it in charcoal or watercolor or something like that. But something that slows you down and allows you to feel feelings and to think thoughts, not think feelings, but allows you to slow down and gives you time and space to really reflect and then honestly answer. So with that, here are the 6 questions. Number 1. In the past 3 months, how connected to yourself have you felt? How have you been actively choosing to put your authentic self into the world? Number 2, how connected to those most important to you have you felt? How did it feel to reach out to them? Number 3, how connected to your community have you felt? How are you defining community? Number 4, have you been setting weekly connection intentions? Number 5, if you've not actively done connection, what have you chosen to do instead? And the final question, do you feel more connected? Now, if you haven't written those down, obviously this can be replayed and you can catch it then, but it's also in the blog post that there's a link in the episode description. It's about halfway down. And they're just in a list there. It's all there. You can go at your own pace. And just in case my Australian accent is somehow very difficult to understand. But a couple of things that I want to say here. First thing is that I want to say again how important it is to write this down. Okay. And then the second thing is that if you go back to the very first blog post of this an episode of Connection Over Coffee for 2021, you will see that the image that I had of you or for you and encouraged you to really kind of imagine in the theatre of your mind, which is something that Dr. I think it's Maxwell Maltz, I'm looking around, but this isn't my where my books are, in Psychocybernetics, a book from the 50s that kind of defined self-help book. But he talks about the theatre of the mind and the power that visualization has for us. And this has been something that's been adopted by athletes and all sorts of people who, in part of their training, they really imagine all these details in their mind and then replay it before it's actually happened. So when it does come to happen, they've made it happen. That didn't really make sense, but I think you know what I mean. But what I encourage you to do was to actually get really specific about how you are going to spend Christmas, how you are going to be feeling in Christmas 2021. What clothes are you wearing? What were you going to be eating? And critically, who are you going to be with? And how are you going to feel in terms of connection? And that may or may not have borne out. But if you've been hoping that your loneliness would shift, if you've been wishing that someone would come riding on into your life on the back of a unicorn and, reach down and say, "Come with me," and you get on the back of his unicorn and you ride off into the sunset happily ever after, if that's what you've been, if that's your strategy for going through your loneliness and not feeling lonely anymore, hope is not an effective strategy. Hope is the start. But if you have been spending 2021 hoping and wishing and praying, if you're religious, and literally or figuratively, that someone somewhere, something somewhere would save you from your loneliness, what role have you been doing in all of this? Because one of the common threads of the year of authentic connection, and it goes to question 5, that if you have not actively done connection, actively done, so if you have not taken any steps beyond scrolling social media or observing you may and quite possibly have been choosing your loneliness. The connection that you so need and deserve requires you to do something different. And if you're not doing something different, then you're choosing your loneliness. Now that seems really harsh, but when I was told that, it was an inconvenient truth. It made me feel very uncomfortable because stasis, staying exactly where you are, is a choice. Doing nothing is a choice. Hoping is a choice. Perhaps not very effective. Doing something is a choice. Now, on that kind of spectrum of choices, there are ones that take you forward, taking a step. So, in your answers to how you've done 2021, how have you quite possibly done something deeply uncomfortable in the effort to move beyond your loneliness? How did that work out? Did you celebrate your attempt? Not success. Did you celebrate the attempt? Or if it wasn't successful or as successful as you imagined, did you come down hard on yourself? And is that actually effective? This is really important, and the whole purpose of the Year of Authentic Connection was to help and guide and support you as we all were taking steps beyond our loneliness. So I hope that you're feeling more connected to yourself, to those most important to you, and to your communities now in December 2021 than what you did back in January 2021. And if you don't, that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. You're human. You're gloriously human. And I forget who wrote this. I really do forget. But I think it's ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better. So over the next few months, fail better. And, you know, it's hard, it's terrifying. It's really, you know, especially when we're dealing with an emotion that has us absolutely questioning our worth and our worthiness of love and belonging. It makes us feel like that we're not a human and we're not worthy of other humans. But you are. Your worth is absolutely not up for debate. It's not to be earned from anyone else. You simply have it. That's it. And with reports of such high rates of loneliness and lonely LGBTIQ plus individuals at higher risk of self-harm and substance abuse, suicide, we are definitely not alone, and doing nothing and hoping is not working for us as a community, and it's not working for you. It's okay. I'm here. The whole team's here to help you do connection. And if you share with me how you're doing connection, I'll be your, just an enormous cheerleader for you, because I know how hard that shit is to put yourself out there. I constantly have to make decisions to put me into the world, and it's shit my pants scary so often. And I don't want to. but great things come when we get uncomfortable. So that's it for 2021. I want to say, I want to tell you that I've got absolutely, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for 2022. I've got huge, bold plans. And I want to, part of those bold plans is, if you are in Canberra, I would really like to start workshopping my idea for that helps gay men experiencing loneliness to work beyond loneliness and get the connection that they need. So if you are in Canberra, please do reach out to me, because if you're interested, because in March, I would like to get together up to eight gay men in Canberra to come together. Oh, well, I'm just going to start giggling with that. To assemble in a room, and what we are going to do, we're going to be exploring our creative side, and then we're going to be learning about authentic connection. And so this will be over a few weeks in March, and we're going to, as I said, we're going to explore our creative sides and then talk about and do connection. And you don't have to be creative. You don't have to have a special talent. You certainly don't have to sing. You don't have to dance or anything like that. Your talent might be writing or writing poetry. It might be taking photos. It might be watercolors. It might be interpretive dance. It might be opera singing. It might be, I don't know, like whatever it is. I'd love to get together and you know, let's explore creative sides as well as discussing connection. So this first workshop that I want to do is I want to provide it free, and the only catch is that I ask you for honest feedback, because this is something that I really want to do at first in Canberra, and kind of hone and perfect in this city, with its awesome community, with its awesome gay community, and then look to scale up in other cities, in other countries around the world, because 2022 are going to start taking the first steps to make the Loneliness Guy the go-to destination for gay men experiencing loneliness wherever they are in the world, to get information and support wherever they are in the world at a time that they need it. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited by what's coming and where I want to do this, and how I want to take the Loneliness Guy. I want to do more than blogging. I want to do more than podcasting. I want to be with you in person, helping you get the authentic connection, learn about authentic connection, and get the authentic connection that you need. So if you want to, I would love it if you could consider, again, not only just buying me a coffee, but going to the lonelinessguy.com/invest, and there's a link in the episode description to learn more about my plans. Because when you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur doing things alone, and you're doing something in a way that nobody else has, this isn't, you know, the trail has not been blazed by other people so much, and there's not too many loans or products that are designed for small businesses like mine. But I do need some help. I do need some startup funding to start getting things running here at the Loneliness Guy, because I really want to provide low or no cost support to gay men experiencing loneliness wherever they are in the world. But I do need money. It's a fact of it. I'm doing all of this at no cost, and I really want to do this, keep on doing this so it's accessible. But the fact of the matter is that I do need some startup money. So if you are interested in this, and a sure way of making an Australian feel uncomfortable is to get them to talk about money. And I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now, but I would really love it. If you're interested in helping me make something of this, or you know someone who's wanting to invest some money in an enterprise that's designed to help gay men and designed to help gay men experiencing loneliness, please send them my way. So thelonelinessguy.com/invest. All right, at the end of this episode and the end of 2021, I want to say thank you to a few people, but a couple of stats. Over the course of this year, we've had 17 themes, 17 topics. That's 17 blog posts and 17 podcasts that go with each of those blog posts. So that's been, well, every 2 weeks is a theme. So that's 35 weeks out of 52 where there's been content. There was a bit there in the middle at the beginning where I couldn't actually, when I wasn't producing this work. But 17 topics, 17 blog posts, 17 podcasts. And all of this comes with the support of friends and guests who have written blog posts, who have been on the podcast. So in order, this year we've heard from my friend Reno and Nathan Todd, Michael Diorio, Andrew Reed, Justin Obersty, Kevin Moran, and my the coaching partners and connection experts, Mike Campbell and Sophia Kokeres, as well as Michael Diorio and Kevin Moran. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for your help, advice, and support in for the Loneliness Guy. And I want to say thank you to you, the awesome viewer, the awesome listener, the awesome reader of my content, and the person who's, if you're reviewing my content on social media, thank you. Thank you so much. I do it for you. I do all of this for you so you know that you're not alone, and to help you take steps to work through your loneliness. But the biggest thanks of all, go to my partner, the beautiful, the man who I love, Jeff Bartlett. I want to say thank you to you, and to the kids. If you're listening, I want to say thank you for putting up with endless conversations, endless kind of discussions and stuff about loneliness and gay men and what it means. You're getting a crash course in just by being in the house and being around and being in this family, of the importance of connection. I want to say thank you. Thank you for enduring the late dinners, enduring the, I can't do that because I've got a podcast or I've got to write, and you're tiptoeing around and trying to keep swearing at the Xbox to an absolute minimum. I love you all. Thank you so much for all the love and support in 2021. And knowing that I can be me, and I'm celebrated as being me in this family, means everything. Thank you to you. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Cannot wait for 2022. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, and to all a very happy and prosperous and healthy 2022.